You're listening to the Music Millionaires radio and podcast show, broadcasting internationally on multiple platforms throughout the world. Statements and opinions made by guests on Music Millionaires radio are not to be considered as endorsed by sponsors or affiliate and networks. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of this podcast without the written consent of Music Millionaires is strictly prohibited. Get ready for a day or night filled with information into the music business, your favorite artists, new releases, or production tips or ideas. If there is something we think will help you as a fan or musician, you'll find it on this show. That includes YouTube tips as well. And I'm your host, SG-1 from The Peacemakers. So stay tuned, sit back and relax, and get ready for this episode. Peace and blessings. What's going on, Music Millionaires? And welcome to another podcast. I told you guys, man, we're going to be doing some big things, and I was going to be bringing in the big dogs. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. Hopefully it's a good time, and hopefully everything is going right with the way you want it. This podcast is a special one because I done bought in one of the big dogs, the OGs, to make them drop their panties. I bought in my brother and one of my very, very, very good friends, Mike Keith from 112. Mike, what's poppin', family?
Okay, first of all, I want you to take that bass out of your voice when we talking, my nigga. In the morning for me right now.
I'm gonna try to pull it back a little bit, man.
We got too much low ends, you know what I'm saying? Like pull that back, man. You know what I'm saying? But what's up with you, brother? Hey, for those that don't know, man, Stay Cool and I go back years, bro. Like we actually had bonded on a whole nother level when I moved out to LA to try to, put my hand, dip my hand and my feet into the whole Hollywood world and whatnot, man.
Right.
So we had plenty of capers back in the day, man.
My God, we can't even talk about half this shit.
So y'all already know with this guy with me, man. It's gonna be nothing but fun, nothing but the raw uncut. And man, listen, bro, it's been too long, bro. It's been way too long.
That's real, family. That's real. Listen, man, some funny shit, Mike. Listen. So when you Google 112, did you know that everybody's name is real simplistic? Like they have Q, they got Q's whole name, not his middle name. They got Darren Jones, they got Slim. And then when it came to you, they put your whole government name out there, like Michael Marcel Keith. I was like,
right. I said, good God, man, like these baby mamas, they know where I'm at now. And look, dig this, bro. So, I just me one day, me and my girl, we just Googled my net worth. You know what I'm saying? She was just like, "Baby, what's your net worth?" And I said, "I don't know. I honestly don't know." Like, so Google it and find out or whatever. How about these folks got me on here for $19 million net worth? I said, bro, number one, where is it?
Hold on, Mike. Whoa. Back up. See, you talking to me now, bro. 19 million and I can't get 10 stacks from you?
Bro, listen.
Listen, that makes for an awkward conversation in child support court, bro.
Listen, bro, that's why I was like, man, please don't let these baby mamas and their lawyers see that stuff right now.
Oh my God.
And I was like, look, that's a misnomer, but you know how social media is.
Yeah.
They see it, that's law. You know what I mean?
Who came up with that number, man? Was it like you got like a disgruntled accountant?
He was like, that son of a bitch, I'm gonna go. He was the mastermind behind all of this one.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
This is his address at IRS. No, what it was, it's a culmination of all the things that we've done and all the things that we've written and all the tours that we've been on for the last 20 some odd years. I mean, so if you break it down, it breaks down to like pretty much $1 million a year. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? and that kind of makes sense if you think about it. But that's in the totality, not just Michael Key. The 112 as a whole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to go online and tell them to show some favor. Stop showing favoritism. Like, listen, bro, you need to say this is split between 4, and that's not including, baby mamas and taxes, and then what Bad Boy took out.
Exactly, and all the blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm saying? Them cats that took out of my soul or whatever. But no, really, man, like if I had my way, bro, like that thing would be 0.
You're right. Listen, man, you say they paying you child support, you don't even have the babies. Oh my God. Listen, guys, if y'all have not caught on by now, right? We're just a couple minutes in this. Prepare for funny, because this is what we did the entire time in LA when we weren't working, man. So be prepared for funny, man. And we're going to jump in on some serious questions and stuff like that as well. But Mike is like the person who offsets bad vibes, bad energy. He literally doesn't even do like negative energy. He will offset that shit in a minute, man. So y'all be prepared for funny, because
yeah, get ready for it, man. Because I don't do negative, man. Because that's for Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't do stuff like that, man. Because at the end of the day, bro, we gotta laugh. That's what I do on my Instagram page. If you're not following my Instagram page, follow me. It's Michael Keith 112 on Instagram. And bro, I do say, and Sekou will tell you, I do some of the funniest. It's not even, it's a lot of things I see, you know what I'm saying? It's just stuff that make you go, you know what, bro, I've been doing that all my life, cause that's pretty much my shtick.
Right.
I'll see something and I'll say, man, you know what, we've been saying this wrong our entire lives, and I just want to just put it out there and just make people think. And because I love when we sit back and as a whole, and not just black people, no, it's just us as people, when we sit back and just reflect and be more cerebral about the things that we, the things that we do. Like, people come up to me and be like, bro, you can't say that's a made up word.
Right.
My nigga, all the words are made up. What do you do?
Right. Do you know the history of the American language?
All the words are made up. What are you talking about? So, it's just obvious stuff, man, that I do that just make people say, you know what, bro, I've been doing this the wrong way. And it's lighthearted, it's jovial, right, and everything is satirical, on Instagram. I take nothing on social media seriously. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta have thick skin being in this business that we're in. So even if they come back to me and they clap back or whatever, man, all I do is sit back and laugh at it. Like, I laugh at these celebrities who get mad at people who they don't know, who they've never spoken to, and like one of these, what is it, cyberbullying and all that shit, whatever. Yeah. Listen, like, bro, look, I'm a grown man. Sekou is a grown man. Look here, man. Come to me. You got beef. Come on. Come holler at me. Look at me.
Right.
I am your.
Right. That's real talk. And see, that's the thing too, right? I try to tell these guys, right? Because between the two channels, between Machine Masters and, Music Millionaires, one of the things that I try to teach, because of course everybody's like, how do I get this? And how do I get a fan base? And how this, and how. I'm like, listen, the thing you have to do is be relatable. People want to know you, not, this robotic person that's just being mainstream in society. You're just doing everything everyone else is doing. Like you said, the celebrities get real pissed off when they feel like someone is bullying them or a fan says something that's real. But you have mastered the art of Instagram, bro. Because I be like, dude, you just did that? Like when you was sitting on a toilet, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, okay, for those that don't know what happened, okay, I got this my whole comedy, frame of mind. It came from my uncle. Like, he was good at just giving everybody one-liners. Like, you could not beat this man. Rest in peace, my Uncle Grammy. You could not beat this man with his one-liners. Like, if you hit him with something, he threw something right back at you, man, just as quick. And I caught on to that. And it was close to being his equal with that, man. But I don't think nobody could surpass his one line again. You know what I mean? But he was always like just throwing things at you that was just common, what we use every day.
Right.
Everyday lingo. And then just make it, say satirical or whatever. So when I got some shit on my mind, or I'm dealing with a shitty situation, like quite naturally in his mind, he would have said, oh, this dude sitting on the toilet. And so when I flushed the toilet, bro, it was just like, man, the whole world just like, I'm done with this dude.
Funny as shit. Literally funny as shit. Like, literally funny as shit ever. I was like, listen, because the feed came up on my phone, right? And I was like, okay, so you was like, yeah, I got some shit on my mind. It's a really shitty situation I need your help with. And then all of a sudden you flushed the toilet and said, oh, never mind. What? Oh my God. I was like, bruh, you missed your calling. If y'all don't know, man, Mike can literally double for a comedian, man. All besides the whole R&B thing. And trust me, guys, we're going to get into the music side of this, and I'm going to ask him some music business questions because I'm going to tell you, if you want brutally honest, my brother's going to give it to you, man. But if you didn't sing, bro, you give Kevin Hart hell right now, bro. Kevin Hart has to find himself, bro.
Listen, man, and I think I got him. You know what I mean? I think I got him on that, man. But here's the thing, and you touched on this. And if I can backtrack this a little bit, you touched on it just now, man. As celebrities, we're taught, especially in the music business, we're taught we're supposed to be just so cool and so calm and so collective and always have the right thing to say. And especially in R&B, you had to always be sexy. Everything that you say, man, it's like, bro, it bullshit you not. We actually had to take classes on how to lick your lips the right way, man, and just.
You got to be kidding me.
I promise you, it was LL Cool J 101, bro. You had to be in there, man, and you just had to be able to lick your lips and talk. Yeah, baby, you know what I'm saying? It's like, my girls had to do this, that, and the other, and I just took a shit. But you got to make that shit so sexy, though. It's like, it's got to be, it'll be the most nastiest shit. Yo, man, I just took a shit and I just wiped that shit on the wall. But the way you say it, man. Hold on.
I don't mean to cut you off. Let me ask you. So you saying to me, you had to take R&B etiquette, how to say you got a shit sexy. Classes, how to be sexual.
How to be sexy, bro. Like that was, and to me, that was the corniest shit on planet Earth because number one, what constitutes sexy? Right. You know what I'm saying? My man B.I.G., rest in peace. B.I.G. was one of the biggest, blackest, fattest dudes on planet Earth, but he was still clocking them girls, bro. Like he was still, getting, saying them tens on up. You know what I mean? But it was his swag. It had nothing to do with his appearance and stuff. So it's still the contradiction to that, man. It was just like, okay, I'm hearing you, the talking heads at the record label. I'm hearing y'all, but at the same time, I'm watching this man over here. You know what I'm saying? Who y'all just signed yesterday? Who got one eyeball in the center of his fucking head? And he got like the baddest chicks around him, bro. So what constitutes sexy? So that was one thing on my mind. But then it's like, bro, my natural inclination in life is to be silly. You know what I'm saying? The sexy shit, I had to quote unquote learn how to be sexy. You know what I'm saying? With regards to that, because my natural inclination is to laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like all sexy shit, man. It was like, oh, bro, that's corny, man. Like let's just do and just being honest. The best thing that happened for me in my career, man, was social media with regards to, Instagram and things of that nature, because I can really be me now, versus, who the industry and the record label thought I should have been because I was in the R&B group. You know what I mean? So it's, of course, social media has its pros and its cons, but, for the most part, if you know how to play this game and not take it seriously, and I heard that train. I'm like, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. So with that, hold on, Mike. So with that said, let's hold on and let's take a break.
If it's something hot you want, then it's something hot you'll get.
All right, so we are back with my brother, one of my best friends, Mike from 112, and we were just talking about a variety of stuff, man, and he was talking about what's the definition of sexy and funny and all these different things. But before we get started, Mike, listen, man, if I do not do this, bro, I cannot go to another Head Start program. I can't go to the Catawba Reservation. I can't do none of this. If you please would say hello to the women who run the Head Start program for the state of South Carolina in OCAB specifically. Because they're going to lose their mind. I was on the phone with you the other day, and they heard that. I was like, is that Mike from 112? Is that 112? I was like, yes. They were like, tell him we say hello. And if he looking to get married, you know, any of them, just, we're available. Can you say hello to the sisters, please?
I will say hello to all the sisters of OCAB, all the beautiful, wonderful women of OCAB. Thank y'all so much for the service that you're providing for the young people. You know, trust me, the Bible said, to whom much is given, much is required. Right. And I'm sure that you have been given a lot, and I'm sure that you are giving a lot as well. So, you know, to you, I would say thank you so much, ladies, and continue doing what you're doing. Thank you so very much.
All right. You can't, come on, girls. Y'all can't get no better than that. I fulfilled my promise. All right. Now, secondly, bro, can you please say hello to Melissa Harris from the Catawba Indian Reservation, and she runs the Head Start program there as well. So.
Okay. Melissa Harris, how are you? Love you. I know I don't know you. I know that might seem awkward. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're a fan of Say Cool, you're a friend of mine, and blessings to you. Love you.
Thank
Melissa
you.
Harris.
Thank you. We got that out the way now. We got that out the way, man. And, I got it too. Huh?
2020, man. We go with president.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Going hard, bro. You know what I mean? Mike Keith for president in 2022, bro.
Let me tell you something. We gotta start cleaning out them closets immediately. Then.
Right now, like now, you bro. Oh my God, yeah. We don't even bring that up then.
President Keith, did you have sex with that woman? I said no, but I wanted to.
Hold on, President Keith. We heard that you smoked. Yes, but I did not inhale.
I'm lying. Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. I'm from the A, damn it. You know we inhaled.
Exactly. Yeah, we did. Hey, my man Julio down there on Cleveland Avenue got the ball.
Damn, I didn't even know that Julio's still selling weed.
Listen, Julio he tells the name to July, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, we can speak Spanish. I know what Julio is, bro. I'm there on the class.
Listen, man, okay, hold on, man, because I got you on here, and I know you doing a lot, and we're going to talk about that. You guys been touring and all this stuff. So let me ask the obvious. This is the first thing I know everybody want to know is, where has 112 been, firstly?
Where have we been, man? For the last 12 years, you know, I like to call it a self-imposed sabbatical. Mm-hmm. But basically what it really boils down to, man, is like a marriage, or like anything, man, that you've done for, you know, 20 plus years, man. It kind of loses its luster after a while, and you have to figure out a new set of, like, when we first got in the business, we had a purpose. Right. You know what I'm saying? To be the best R&B group, you know what I'm saying, that ever existed. You know what I'm saying? 4 lead singers, never had that happen before. We wanted to make history, yada, yada, yada. Okay? Mission accomplished. Now what is your new goal? Now that you're in the music, now that you're in the business, now that you're a mainstay in R&B music, now that you've sold those millions of records, now that you have the Grammy, now that you have all those accolades, what is your new drive now? What is your new purpose now? And it took us walking away from, you know, the industry and really seeing who we were. And around the time that I was in LA, this is around that whole growing period that, you know, I'm speaking of, mm-hmm. that you had to find out who we were as individuals and not as a member of a group with 3 other dudes still, man, because basically for the last 20 some odd years, that's how we were always, you know, described. You know what I mean? If it wasn't all 4, it wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? And we felt like, you know, that was cool and everything, man, but at the same time, we felt like it was a bit unfair to hold 112 in that. And to us, we felt like we were the only group that you held in that regard. And maybe it was because we looked so unified in the whole 9 or whatever, but the mind frame was like, geez, I can't walk down the street without somebody saying, hey man, where the other 3 at? Right. You know, I'm like, bro, you know, I have a life outside of the cats, right? Right. You know what I mean? That was the turning point for us, man. We had to figure out who we were as individuals. And I think all of us around the same time got a little frustrated with the fact that, you know, although we were successful as a group, you know, I had more to offer to the world than just being one fourth of, you know, of 112. You know what I mean? I think that was what we ended up going out and doing. Like Deron started doing his solo thing, and Q Parker started doing his thing with the solo projects and acting and, you know, doing plays and whatnot. And then of course Slim had his, you know, his solo project out. And so it was.
And then hold on, whoa, back up. Don't forget, like, we wasn't working on something with you now.
I was about to say, I said, brother, because we made some magic out there in LA, bro. Like the records that we came up with, man, we came up with really with some amazing stuff, man. And I just wish that we had an opportunity to showcase that stuff. And maybe the most high find somewhere, you know what I'm saying, find a home or somewhere. Right. I'll never close that door, you know what I'm saying? But we made some magic as well, man. But more than anything, I learned something special when I was out in LA, which was, bro, I can go out here and do this on my own. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. Cause for years I was like, man, I can't be successful unless it's with those other three guys. Right. And like, bro, I can't tell you, this just, you know, sidetrack. Can't tell you how much that means to me. Like whenever somebody speaks to me about, you know, what I was doing when 112 was, you know, parted ways in the whole nine or whatever, man, I'll always refer back to my time in LA, because that was a pivotal moment in my life. That was when, you know, Michael, you know, learned that, you know, hey man, you're not just 1/4 member of 112. You're actually someone who is creative, so a businessman, you know, you're funny as all get out. You know, you're a manager of people. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then you can make it happen on your own. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So that was something real pivotal, bro. So, but that what was happening with 112, and but we got tired of being broke, so we got back together.
Truth is truth, right?
Listen, man, these Rolexes don't buy themselves, bro.
That's right. But you said something so pivotal right there, because that's the thing that I've been really pushing toward home when it comes to music production and teaching the music business and all the things that, you know, finding that individuality and learning that, listen, I can do this as well. You know what I mean? I don't need to depend on someone else to do me. You know what I mean? And so I think that was monumental when you made that statement completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to delve more into it. We'll be right back, guys, after this.
This is Big Snoop D-O-double-G, and I hope y'all ready for the bombest that ever graced the airwaves. Music millionaires.
All right, so we're back. Mike, real quick question, because I do want to get into the business side of this more in depth, because me and you was talking, and you were saying some things that I was like, damn, my brother something has happened, and I like it. But a simplistic question. It's a real easy one for you. I can never ask you anything hard. Who came up with the name 112?
The name 112, okay, there's a lot of, you know, false or fake news out there, if you will, that seem to be the theme nowadays and stuff, man. And, you know, don't get me started with that dude. But,
right.
That'll be a whole nother podcast, man. But the name 112 actually, the name actually stems from the Club 112 in Atlanta. And that's we first met Puff, and that is where, you know, we knew that once we signed with Badboy, we was going to immediately be associated with New York. And if anybody knows, 112 is from Atlanta. Like, we spent some time in New York. We lived in New York for a couple of years, but our heart and soul, we Southern boys, you know what I mean? And we take pride in the fact that we're proud sons of Georgia, you know what I mean? So we wanted everybody to know that, you know, although we had to move to, you know, pursue our dream, which is nothing wrong with that. where our heart and our roots and everything stem. So everything that you got from 112 is stemmed from being from Atlanta. You know what I mean? So we wanted to be synonymous with Atlanta. And, so our manager at the time was like, and Puff got together with us and was like, yo, y'all need a name, man, because at the time we were named Forte. Let's go back a little bit. We were named Forte. Okay. And the acronym for Forever En Route to Excellence. Yeah, so
that's not as catchy, is it?
Yeah, that's not as catchy. It was like, yeah, nah. You know what I'm saying? It was good for showcases and talent shows and stuff like that, man, but it just wasn't the name like, or as memorable as a 112, because everybody that's been, cause everybody was thinking like, the place to go at that time was Atlanta. If you're from New York, you're from LA, you always came to Atlanta. And that's still the mind frame that a lot of people have now. It's like you always, go to Atlanta because it's so booming as far as black business is concerned and stuff like that. So a lot, would migrate to, saying Atlanta and just make their bones there, man, whatever. But, we wanted to, like I said before, we wanted to, be synonymous with Atlanta. So Puff, Kev, us, we all just sat in the room and it was just thrown out there. Like, hey, y'all need to be named like 112 or something like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And because we made the argument that we want to be synonymous with Atlanta, and we couldn't use Forte because at the time, rapping Forte out in Cali.
That's right.
So we couldn't really use it because it would have been confusing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this dude went from being a rapper to like he's singing now.
I don't think he would have liked that too much either.
Yeah, I don't think dude would have, said like that too much. No, big shout out.
But here's the coincidence. I know you've made this connection, right? So y'all went by Forte because it was 4 of y'all, but 112, when you put 1 plus 1 plus 2, that's 4.
It's 4, exactly. So we like, bro, we've done all the numerical stuff, man, and all the astrological signs. And all. We just want to make sure, like, bro, they don't mean doomsday or something like that.
Hold on, did y'all contact? What's that sister name that used to do the calling me now?
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. Oh my God, Lord of mercy. Listen, y'all don't understand, man. Y'all, this dude need to do some medication, man. Y'all don't understand, man.
It's around that time anyway.
Oh, it's crazy, man. So,
but yeah, no, what we found out with 112 is here's a fun fact for you. It actually means 911. It's the 911 number overseas.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so imagine the surprise that we had, man, when we went overseas and stuff, and we was like, they just kept calling us 112 is what they kept calling us, because they didn't want to keep calling us 112 because it's the 911 number overseas and stuff, man. So we was like, it's 112. It's like, no, our number, the name of the group is 112. No, you don't understand this. They explained it to us. It was like, okay, that's cool and everything, but the name of the group is 112, man.
So, wow. We're still gonna buck the system. It's 112, but we get it. I got you.
We still bucking the system, bro. So, but yeah, that's where the name originated from, man. And we at first we weren't really sure about it, a number, you know what I mean? Like, we want to be named after a number and the whole 9 or whatever. But in the music business, man, a lot of this is based on, and the crazy thing about it is, they want you to be as creative as possible, right?
Right.
But it has to be within a certain box or within a certain parameter. Well, if you're a creative being, which I know you are, if you're a creative being, that's the craziest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like to tell a creative person, like, I want you to be creative, but within this box.
Within a box, yeah. With parameters, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with regards to 112, it's like we had to take the creative and emotional side out of it and look at it in a business. And that was a name that was synonymous with Atlanta, and it's a name that would catch. You know what I mean? It's super 112. Okay. Right. You know what I mean? And you automatically thought Atlanta. You automatically thought having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Because of the club. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what we had to, that's when the maturation process started with us, when we started realizing that, it's not about what we want emotionally, because of course you want everything that you in your mind you think you want, you know what I mean? Because but there's certain things that you have to do as a business person that may or may not be in your mind the best decision for you, but for the totality of the group, saying it made sense. So we went ahead, we went with it, and it caught on, man. It was real catchy, and And it worked because people associate, oh, you mean like the club? And we was like, okay, now we got him because, you know, that just, for some reason that just on a subliminal level, it just made you, just think of having a good time, being in the club, being in Atlanta. You know what I mean? So we wanted to, now music was, you know, symbolic of that as well. So, you know, having a good time, you know, we were very thought-provoking people, but we wanted to keep our music fun, lighthearted, you know what I mean? So it could be in clubs and stuff like that. Like, so, you know, it was a good call.
It definitely was because I mean, you guys are historical, you know what I mean, when it comes to just the music industry, you know what I mean? At some point, I think you're going to be probably about 70, 80 when they actually do one of them BET specials on y'all, but it ain't going to matter just as long as they do it, Mike, you know what I'm saying?
Where are they now?
Where are they now, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be doing stand-up and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Where are they now? Two of them niggas are dead.
You is stupid, man. So listen, let me ask another question that I'm pretty sure my listeners going to be wanting to know. Like, how did you guys meet Puffy, and when did it become real for you? Like, after you met Puffy, when did the music business side of things really get real?
Oh man, that's a great question. When we first met Puffy, he came down. Actually, here's another fun fact for you. If you remember Outkast's first video, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, right?
Yep.
Southern Playalistic Cadillac.
Yep.
Puffy actually directed that video.
Get out of here.
Puffy directed that video. He came down, and at that time, Puffy was, for what we knew of Puffy, he was like a model for Carl Kanai at the time. You know what I mean? Right. Now, of course, he had been doing all the stuff for, you know, Uptown and, you know, Andre Harrell and the whole nine, but his name he wasn't Puffy yet, especially when it came to Atlanta. Right. You know what I mean? When he came down to Atlanta, he got up under Dallas Austin and Dark Studios and, you know, and just hung out there because that's where the happening, you know, music was at the time and stuff. And that's where we were. And, you know, Jagged Edge was there at times, and Monica was there. ABC was there. Boyz II Men was there, all culminating in this one spot. And it was Dark Studios in Atlanta, and it was Dallas Austin Studio. And that was the place to be. You know what I mean? So Puff was there learning how to be a music producer underneath Dallas Austin. He was learning as much as he possibly could. And that's where we crossed paths, you know, at the time, because there was actually a bidding war going on with 112 at the time. Like, it was Puff, it was Dallas Austin, it was Jermaine Dupri, it was L.A. Reid and LaFace. You know what I mean? Like, those like the four major labels that were inquiring about getting, you know, 112. Okay, L.A. Reid, of course, was LaFace. Dallas was Rowdy Records. You know, so Jermaine was So Def, and Puffy was the fledgling record label Badboy. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, the only one that he had at the time was Craig Mack / B.I.G. You know what I'm saying? At the time, like he was on his way to doing all of this stuff, man. So he was trying to figure out how to be an executive producer in that sense, and so he got up under Dallas, and you know was just absorbing and just learning how to be that superior producer. Right. You know what I mean? That's where he met 112 with Forte at the time, and we sung for him, and he absolutely blew us off.
Wow.
He absolutely blew us off the first time we met him, man. He heard it, you know, and then, you know, and justifiably so, man. Like, we were probably looking like the four country's bumpkins on planet Earth, you know, that we had just come from school, right. You know, we drove up in a burgundy Honda Accord, you know, that barely had four wheels, man. So, you know, like, and so I can understand, you know, why this man, you know, didn't really give us the time of day or whatever. But couldn't be denied was the talent. You know, like, he did acknowledge that, you know, we were singing. He's like, but bro, like, I don't know what to do with them. You know, like he was telling our manager, like, I don't know what to do with them. And Kev and all of his, you know, genius was like, yo, don't worry about the look. I'll get the look right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just do you not see the talent? He was like, no, they talented or whatever, man. Like, you know, we'll see what happens. And months had went by at that point. You know what I'm saying? When we met him again, and that's where we met him at 112, and we ran up on him again, He was about to go into the club. It was raining at night. And if anybody knows 112 at that around that time, around 94, 95, the club used to, like, the line used to be packed, like, wrapped around the building.
Buildings, yeah. Guys, if you've been tuning in, I'm interviewing my friend, my brother Mike from the group 112. And this is a very special podcast. But stay tuned. We'll be right back. Guys, one of the things I always tell you is the importance of being in control of your music business. And one of the ways you do that is by having a great digital distributor. And what I mean by a digital distributor, if you don't know, digital distribution gets your music on the platforms that your fans and potential fans are listening to. So I'm going to always push home to making sure you have a strong distribution point. And one way to do that is by DistroKid. DistroKid is not only a great distributor, and they'll get you on all of the major platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Napster, Deezer, and more, but they do it all for $19.99. That's right. So under $20, you can get international distribution on all of the major platforms and get your music where it needs to be so that your potential fans and your fans can listen to your music and stream and possibly download it. And where are you going to find that for under $20? Well, I'll tell you, DistroKid. And there's a reason why I am supporting and allow them to sponsor this particular podcast. So make sure you go and support and look out for the VIP link that we're providing to all of our listeners that you'll find in the description below. You'll be able to utilize that discount. So make sure you click the link in the description below and tell them SG from Music Millionaire sent you. So if you're listening live and you're just tuning in, I'm with Mike from 112, and we were talking about basically the group 112 and how they came to be and how they got hooked up with Puffy. So Mike, last you left off, you was talking about meeting Puffy at the Club 112. Can you finish where you last left off?
You was somebody if you got into 112 at that point.
Right.
So here's a line on one side, Puffy and his entourage on the other side. 112 was in the middle. And he said, he stopped everything. He said, all right, sing. Like in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. On the spot at his best.
On the spot. But little did he know, that's where we thrive. We was like, oh, man, you said nothing slick to a can of oil? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you thought you was putting pressure on us? We did that. Like, we had already finished doing the chicken circuit, as if you will.
Right.
The chicken circuit.
That's some southern stuff they don't know about, bro. The southern chicken circuit.
Yeah, the chicken circuit, man. Like they don't realize it. Like, that's some other game we're gonna put y'all on, man.
Right.
But that we had already done, the showcases. We had already done the talent show. We had won pretty much everything there was to win in Atlanta with regards to like showcases and talent shows and things of that nature. So we were already used to being put on the spot. So when he said that, we was like, bro, boy, listen, man, on the count of 1, 2, 3, and we just started singing, bro. We sang Silk, Lose Control. We sung Take 6, Oh Mary, Don't You Weep. We was singing Commission. We sang New Edition. We sang Boys to Men. We sang Jodeci. We did everything we could, and the line went from being a line wrapped around, the building to a circle.
Line around y'all, probably.
Yeah, it was a circle around us, man, and at that point, that's when Puffy knew that for him it was real. Right. At that point, because he knew that we had the ability to encapsulate and ingratiate ourselves, and draw a crowd, and keep a crowd. It was one thing, like the crowd was already ready to explode because Puffy was coming onto the scene. But then when he seen that, and then they started chanting, "Sign these boys, sign these boys."
Wow. So Atlanta showed up and showed out. They supported.
They showed up and they showed out, man. And in true ATL fashion, man. So that was like for him a turning point for him where he realized, okay, these boys might have something. So that's where we first met Puffy. But the second part of your question was like when it became real for us.
Right.
It became real once that whole bidding war kind of thing, that kind of bidding war deal started happening, where we just knew in our heart of hearts that we were going to be signed to Dallas Austin and Rowdy Records. We wanted to be signed to Rowdy because he had just finished Monica's first single. and it exploded. And Monica was, Monica was becoming the superstar that she is today. And, he had just finished, producing producing Boyz II Men's second album.
Yeah. And Boyz II Men were big. So that was your motivation for wanting to be signed with Dallas.
And honestly, we were just some loyal dudes, and we knew that Dallas had opened his studios up to us to record and to practice, and just being a home and a hub for for us in our development and stuff, man. So we were just loyal to the dude, and we just wanted to stay down with him. Right. You know what I mean? So that was really our motivation, for wanting to sign a Rowdy. We knew Dallas. You know what I'm saying? He was a very genius, but real quiet at times and stuff like that. So we didn't really have too many conversations with the dude, but we knew that he recognized our talents and he recognized that we were, destined for greatness. But we wanted to just stay at Rowdy, but we did the whole rigmarole of, speaking to LaFace. Right. At the time, LaFace had I forget what the name of the group was, bro.
Well, Backstreet, wasn't it, or not Backstreet?
No. It's
that's Teddy Riley.
I forget what the boy's name, but they were from Atlanta. They had just signed those boys. So Def was in the process of, they was in between signing us and Jagged, and they ended up signing Jagged. And Rowdy was like, Dallas told us, he's like, man, I love the boys, y'all know I love them, but my mind is somewhere else. Like, he was doing TLC, he was Boyz II Men. Madonna had asked for his services at the time or whatever, so he was focusing on that type stuff, man. And he kept it honest with it. He's like, man, I just don't know if I can devote that kind of time, to 112 or whatever. And we appreciated that, because he could have signed us and shelved us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we looked at it where here's Puffy come in. He's like, yo, I'm ready to sign y'all niggas right now. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? So we went from possibly being signed a year from now with Dallas to being signed right now with Puffy. Right. So he was like, we going to Bad Boy. Our only mind frame was like, how is this going to work? Because, I don't know if you remember this poster that they had back in the day, but it was a poster with a baby on it, and he had his hands in a gesture like he had a gun in his hand, and underneath the caption was strictly hip hop music. Bad Boy, strictly hip hop music. So in our minds, we were like, bro, we sing R&B. How in the hell are we going to go sign to this dude who only understands, hip hop music and whatnot, man? But that was just us being young and not really understanding how the game was played or whatever, and how propaganda works. You know what I mean? Like, we wasn't really, we wasn't really up on it just then, whatever. But a turning point that was a pivotal point in our lives. But the main point when Puffy realized we realized we were going to get signed to Puff, is we were at Doppler Studios in Atlanta, and Faith Evans was working with Usher on Usher's project. Let me see, which one was it? Every time I think of you, that album. You know what I mean? So that was working on him on that album. We came in, Puff was like, yo, I got these guys that I'm thinking about signing. I need your help. Like, let me know, if what you think or whatever. And we came in, Deron got behind the piano, and we sang everything. All the stuff that we sang for him at 112, we sang for her, and we sang for Usher. And they all sat in the room, and they listened and everything, whatever, and he asked us to walk out of the room. And this, basically this is a preset to the show that he has now, The Four. Now that I think about it. You're welcome, Puff. You know what I mean?
You know he ain't giving up no royalties on it, right? You know that's a wrap. That's done.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact, I might owe him some royalties for that shit. But yeah, man, that's foreshadowing. Think about it, that's foreshadowing, man. Like, anyway, right. But so we walked out of the room, and we were like, yo, man, I think we failed, bro. Because we done this is Faith Evans, you know what I mean? And Usher's in there and whatever, man. And so he left out of the room, and then we went back in, and Faith was like, yo, I need to talk to y'all. And she sat us down. She's like, yo, I told Puff that if he doesn't sign y'all, he is fucking crazy. That was confirmation. And Usher was sitting there, just coming from sexy 101 class.
Right. Right, yeah, he has mastered that. I'm glad you said that. He has mastered.
Like so you know I'm not lying, bro. Like you go back and look at all the R&B acts from the 90s on up, man. Like we all did that one class, Sexy 101. I'm trying to think, but no, but he co-signed as well, boy, and he was.
Listen, because I'm just thinking about a time we was in the studio with Usher, and I hate to change the subject, but we went outside and Usher was out there, man, and you know, this is like my first real big experience with somebody as large as Usher at that time, and so it was like watching someone constantly pose for people that weren't there, and I'm like, maybe he knows something I don't know. Is there somebody? And it was like a pose. And I was like, I've never saw nothing like that in my life. Like he was prepared for long distance paparazzi.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? In the event that some paparazzi just jump out of nowhere, bro.
Yes.
I'm ready, girl.
So I'm co-signing what you said. I just thought about that. Like, yes, you were right, man. You were right.
No, he comes across, bro, like, you know, like he's on another level or whatever. Like he's on the ethereal plane or whatever. He sees some spirits, brother. We ain't on there yet.
Yeah, bro. He was on his Michael J stuff, bro.
And he wanted to take the picture. Okay?
Yeah, man. He listen. Usher was listening. Yeah. He earned that title, bro. He did it. He ushered in a new way to pose at night. So,
pun intended. So he was in the studio. You know, they had a little mirror and his little comb in his hand. And like, yeah, y'all niggas dope. And you know what I'm saying? Fixing his waves and shit. And but no, he co-signed as well, man. And he said, look, y'all are dope, man. Y'all are that next to me, and y'all are that next, you know, whatever the case may be.
Right.
That's when we knew it was real. That's when we knew we had validation. When we got it from and Usher, we knew that it was real, and we knew that we had something that wasn't just Atlanta, wasn't just local, it wasn't just talent show ish. Like we had, you know,
great confidence booster.
Yeah, man, we had global talent. We had global musical talent. Like we had the ability to touch the masses or whatever. We knew at that point we was on to something. So that was a pivotal point for us. That was the moment that we realized that, you know, not necessarily we had arrived, but because that was when we heard Only You on the radio for the first time. Kind of like the 5 Heartbeats and shit. Like we were in the studio.
Only You. God almighty.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Mike, y'all put out some bangers, man. Y'all really put out some bangers, but
our goal was to just, you know, destroy every last R&B group that was in our way, man. Like that was our goal, like in the nicest way possible, because we have respect for everybody. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, man, when you get on the stage with us, we're gonna tear your head off. You know what I mean?
Listen, but in the business side of this, and you know what I'm gonna say is right. From the business side of things, coming as a group of R&B artists, which was monumental because you had, like you said, Boys and Men that was out, you guys was coming out. You had Silk, who was killing them. You know, Silk had some of the hottest slow jams that was like hurting them. Then you had H-Town, you know, that's the time when I was dealing with Luke Nem and Disco Rick. So H-Town was out. So you guys had y'all had some competition that you had to really outshine. So you had to have some bangers, man. If you're just tuning in, we are interviewing the infamous and funny as hell Mike from 112, and he is sharing the backstory to 112 and how they basically hooked up with Puffy being a part of Bad Boy. So make sure you stay tuned because we'll be right back. Jesus, the notorious just. Please us with your lyrical thesis. Now, any of you who've been following me on YouTube under Music Millionaires TV, or possibly follow me on Instagram, SG-1 the Peacemaker, knows that I pride myself on teaching and educating you guys to the music business. Not only teaching you the music business as a whole, but empowering you to be that solo artist or record label who is independent on his own and don't have to give up your royalties or any of those type things. But the most important part that you can come to understand is the importance of understanding the music business, how publishing work, how licensing work, how sync placements work, how you get TV and film credit, and all these different things. That's what I'm doing. I'm teaching the people in the industry and those who want to become part of the music industry how to empower themselves. And if you really want to know more, I would suggest you follow me at my YouTube channel, Music Millionaires TV, or just Music Millionaires. And if you're on Instagram, make sure you subscribe and follow me on Instagram as well at SG-1 the Peacemaker. And for those of you who want to join and become a part of the music industry and want a fresh start to really know what to do, what not to do in the music industry, then you definitely want to go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm giving away tons of information 100% free that will help you jumpstart your music career and also teach you a couple things. But I'd be remorse if I didn't say that you also need tools, and some of those tools are publishing contracts, understanding contracts, how to set your LLC up, all these different things that you can find on my website, music-millionaires.com. That's music-millionaires.com, where you can get a lifetime membership and get all of the tools, updates, and things that you need to become possibly that next platinum rapper and or Grammy artist that we go and see on the red carpet. So again, make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube. Also, make sure you check out my website, music-millionaires.com, and follow me on Instagram, SG-1 the Peacemaker. And we're back. And if you're just tuning in again, I am with my friend, my homie, my brother, Mike from 112. And Mike, finish where you last left off.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing, man. A lot of people don't give 112 credit for. Prior to 112, if you were an R&B artist and you were trying to do up-tempos, you were really looked at as being corny. Because, you know, the R&B artist was trying to oversee the up-tempo track. So if you came out with a up-tempo track and you was R&B, you know, your whole goal in your mind was just overseeing the track. Well, we simplified all of that, because in our mind frame was this: if you're in the club drinking, like you're say you're a Sekou and you're in the club, you know, I know you don't do all that, but just stay with me.
Yeah,
and then so you're in the club, you're having a good time, you see a girl, you want to go toilet or whatever, but you hear the music in the background, and that's giving you that confidence boost. You already got that, you know, that liquid courage in your system, man. But you know, you're in the club and you're listening to the music in the background. It's giving you courage to go up to the top of this girl, and you're singing the lyrics to this song. That girl ain't finna understand a dude that can't sing talking about all in her ear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's an up-tempo rhythm. So the goal is do simplify it to where you can sing a song that she can sing along with, y'all can have a common denominator with. So instead of it being all that, you know, ad-libs and stuff like that, it was, girl, I want to be with you.
Right.
No one else, only you. Who couldn't sing that in the club, bro?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that was the mind frame that, you know, said that I had. It was like, who couldn't sing that? You know what I mean? So that's the reason why we were successful in being able to do the up-tempo stuff that we were able to do.
Hey man, you got to get closer to the mic, man. It sounds like you drinking kombucha or something. You got low, or you kissing on your girl or something. Tell her you got to focus, bro. This come on now. You know what I mean? You got low.
Yeah, you can't be doing all of them ad-libs and stuff, man. Like if you trying to, like that girl ain't, especially if you can't sing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can't, they're gonna be like, ew, a mood killer.
Them runs to kill you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that switch done turned off.
Oh, you was too funny.
You know what I'm saying? Instant dry.
Nobody's getting anything when you're done, bro. That's a wrap.
I'm talking. You see that? Instant dry.
That's real. Hey man, so let's talk about this. Now, me and you talk, you know, like in LA about some crazy things, man. When you know you were signed to Bad Boy, that I'm not gonna even ask or put you on the spot with that. But let me ask you this then. Have you ever signed or agreed to something as far as a contract that you regretted?
Yeah, I have. You know, I have, and you know, of course, you look at it and say, you know, life lesson and all this other stuff. That's the PC way of saying fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you had it to do it all over again, of course you would do a better deal. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you know, with those situations come, you know, life lessons and things of this nature, man. But you would hope and pray that your life lesson don't cost you millions of dollars. And I'm just being real with you about that stuff, man. So, I absolutely, there are some deals that, you know, that I signed that I wish, you know, I hadn't, or I wish I would have signed something. Of course, you know, you wish you would have signed something a little better.
Right.
But, that was, definitely. There are some situations, man, where I feel like, you know, I wish we had a do-over, a mulligan, if you will, on that one, because, knowing what I know now, like the situation would be totally different and it would be better off for us and our families, you know what I'm saying, had we just done what our lawyers said to do.
So you're saying that it could have been avoided?
It could have been avoided. It definitely could have been avoided. I will say this: had we listened to our lawyers, which is what we paid them to do, to give us the best advice possible. Had we listened to our lawyers, not listened with our hearts, man, I believe that we would have, came out better financially, in the situation that we were in.
So would you say that a lot of the decisions y'all made was based on the personal interaction with the individuals that you signed the contract with?
Absolutely. And that's one of the lessons that, as artists, you have to learn, and hopefully you learn it before, you put pen to paper, and sign your name on the dotted line, man. Like those are one of the life lessons. You cannot put emotion into a business decision. You know what I mean? Like in negotiation, nobody ever wins, and nobody ever wins everything that they want on either side. And that's a good sign of great negotiation. You lose a little, I lose a little. I give a little bit, you give a little bit. You get what you want a little bit, I get a little bit of what I want. You know what I mean? That's a great business deal at the end of the day, because, it gives incentive to want to go back in and readdress. And I can still work with you. I can, we're still on the up and up, and then we can try to renegotiate at some point down the line and try to get a better situation for both parties, whatever. That is good business, acumen 101. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't like that initially. We were kids, and, a lot of us were, in situations where there was just a mother at the crib. So, we were looking for father figures. And when we found those father figures, they wasn't really father figures in the sense of, I'm doing what's best for you. It was father figure, like, I'm going to show you how, life really is. And this is how gangster this shit can really be. Yeah. And you're going to have to learn how to navigate out of that. It was still a great life lesson, but, I wish we could have learned it, without losing out on as much money as we lost out on.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so with that said, then the next question would be, what advice would you give up-and-coming musicians and music producers wanting to get into the game, wanting to, get their footing in the door? What advice would you give them when it comes to, wanting that thing, that aspiration, that notoriety?
Okay, well, you know that we have more than 5 senses. You know what I'm saying? Like the first 5 senses are what? Taste, smell, touch, hearing, and sight. Touch. Right? You know what I'm saying? So you got all those senses, but you do have that 6th sense. With that, in what we call it, that gut instinct, where if it don't feel right, then we don't do it. Like if you go down a dog alley and you start to go down and then something telling you, no, I should do that. And then you find out that it was, the cast of, the Star Wars, what I'm saying? With laser pistols and everything waiting on your ass in the corner or whatever. And you knew not to go down there and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the gut instinct.
You good.
All right. So, yeah, man. So we have a sense about things, man. And what I would tell up-and-coming artists that are in the industry or trying to get into the industry is like, go with your gut, man, and understand that, we have so much or so many ways of gaining information nowadays that we did not have when I was in the music. You know what I mean? Like with all this social media that's going on right now and all the things that you can gain knowledge from, there's no reason why you can't go in with a vast amount of knowledge that you can not necessarily go toe to toe with, record exec, but just go in knowing more than what we did going in. You know what I mean? And they can't pull the wool completely over your eyes if you have a basic understanding of how the music industry works. So I would say to a lot of artists that are getting into the music industry, that are thinking about getting into the music industry, just take the time to learn as much as you possibly can about the intricacies and the ins and outs of how the music industry works, because it's definitely different from when we first started. Nowadays, man, that is absolutely, it's turned on its head, but I could still maneuver within this music industry because I know the ins and outs of it and how, it's about personalities. It's about relationships. It's about, whether you're relevant or not and how relevant are you? Yeah. And can you say, and at the end of the day, how can you provide a service to us and can you appeal to the masses? Right. Those are some of the things that, that are incumbent for you to be able to be in the music industry, be successful in the music, and then your music got to be good.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start there. Please let your music be good first.
Oh God! You know? If you heard you have heard half of what I probably did.
I have heard,
yeah.
I was there, brother. Trust me.
And I try not to. You know how we are, man. We are definitely pro humans, and I try not to be a butthole, and I keep it real. Like, look, I get there's growth, and so a lot of times I get this music, and I tell brothers, you got to go back to the drawing board and perfect your craft, you know what I mean? But, because we're motivated by the inspiration of somebody wanting to be successful in the industry. And,
right.
when we can, tune in and give some advice and try to help them, that's what we really here for versus, we get the cats that know their shit and, ain't nothing we can do except for add our part. But, just being able to help people do that. So I'm glad you said that, man, because, that is so monumental, and the truth behind all of it at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Because once you get there, that's the easy part. It's being a master at your craft, man. And so,
exactly.
You guys really, I hope you guys are really paying attention in that you guys are getting a lot out of this, because I know we're doing a lot of laughing, but if you listen to a lot of the storyline and the backstory, and you're listening to what it took for 112 and Mike and them to get there, and you've said so much, man, in this interview, and it's only been like 50 minutes, but it is so many lessons within this 50-minute, man, that it's phenomenal, man. And I really hope these guys really catch on. So let's talk about this, bro. You guys have been touring, and this is what I want to talk about. You guys have been touring, bro. And if you don't know, so 112 released another album, right, bro?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Last October.
Last October. And it's called, what is it? Q Mike. I got to put your name right.
Slim. Q Mike Slim DeRon.
There you go. So, let me say this to you firstly. The entire album is the shit. Hands down, the entire album is shit. Now, maybe this is the old school person in me from, when I was in the Miami bass days. One of my favorite songs, though, is One's At You. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Right, yeah. I wonder why that record is just,
Hey, man, One's At You. And I told you this before when I talked to you. I was like, yo, I hear a feature on there, bro. Y'all supposed to have one of these brothers with the pink, yellow, gray, green, blue hair, eyes. And hey, guys, this was a YouTube sneak preview to a podcast that was almost 2 hours doing, where I interviewed my friend Mike Keith, or Michael Keith, from the group 112. And if you want to hear more of it, make sure you go over to the podcast located in the description below, or a part of this post, wherever you found it, and subscribe to the actual podcast. And you can find us on Anchor, iTunes, Google Music. Oh God, we're everywhere. Just type in Music Millionaires SG-1 in your Google search, and you'll find us there. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and share this podcast and video. Sharing is caring, and there is a wealth of information in this that Mike shared. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in to this live sneak preview of my interview with Mike from 112. This is just part 1. If you want to hear the entire podcast that will be dropped Tuesday, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, because he goes deep. We go real deep, and we talk about some very powerful things that you guys really need to know. So, with that said, real simplicity. Love you guys. Music is life. Look forward to you tomorrow on a very special video that I'm dropping as well. Of course, always to teach you guys how to make more money. And then I'll see you on Tuesday with another, or maybe part 2 of this podcast, or possibly the entire podcast if you're listening on YouTube. Either way it goes, the entire podcast will be on my Anchor channel and or iTunes, so make sure you subscribe. As always, music is life. We out.